How you doing there, folks? Baters here with another Top 10. Today we're gonna look at the top 10 NPCs who are secretly synths. Those sneaky little buggers. Now remember, if you like this video, to hit down on that like button. Hopefully I can get 6 likes on this video and beat my last video by 6 likes. Then maybe my dad will finally be proud of me. Now go ahead and stick a dirty little water lily between your titties and let's get to average baiting, baby. At number 10, we've got Magnolia. Magnolia, aka that sexy vixen in the tight red dress, will let you suck her boobies if you play your cards right. Yeah, that lady. You know her, she's the talented singer living in Good Neighbor, classing up the third rail, singing and seducing like a real diva. She earns a living singing at the third rail, but she earns a reputation of being a human by not having a metal face. She looks, feels, and even smells human. I should know, I smelt her dick. Now Magnolia is a snazzy dresser, and I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say she's not wearing any panties. She's just letting the bar breeze spank her front bum all night while she throws the sole survivor those googly eyes. Now have I perved on her once or twice in the game? Sure, I'm only human, but I can tell you this, I never smacked my dick and balls against my monitor. Okay, one time, but I was drinking and it was a moment of weakness. Now, she may walk like a human, she may talk like a human, she may even dress like a human, but don't be fooled, because she's no more human than a sexy vacuum cleaner. No, actually, she's not human at all. She's a synth replacement, and this can be confirmed by killing her and looting her body. On her corpse, you will find a synth component, meaning she's actually a wolf in sheep's clothing, or more accurately, a synth not wearing any panties. I rate this synth one lady stealing a toddler's tricycle.
It's my tricycle now, Billy, you little bitch.
At number 9, we've got Mayor McDonough. Now, Mayor McDonough is a dishonest politician, which I'm sure, like me, your world is shattered finding out that politicians aren't 100% honest. Now, McDonough is a dick-twisting, fart-sniffing, sneaky little bitch. Now, the original McDonough actually kicked all the ghouls out of Diamond City so he could get elected king of the toilet bowl. Then he got his funky-ass mayor napped and killed by the Institute and replaced with the synth. He is generally an unlikable dude. He even used fear-mongering to win the election and become mayor of Diamond City, telling everyone in Diamond City that ghouls were not to be trusted. Then once he got elected, he kicked all the ghouls out on their asses. He even alienated his own brother John in the process, who sympathized with ghouls and even later became one himself. Now, Piper even suspects the new McDonough of being a synth and has even published articles suggesting he's up to no good. And when you know it, the synth McDonough is also a dick, and he is, in fact, up to no good. Wow. Now, under the guise of mayor, he has been carrying out a mission to infiltrate the city and its inhabitants. Now, the human McDonough was a sneaky little pussy fart, but the synth McDonough steps it up a whole new notch and goes full conspiracy theory, kidnapping and killing people and shit, which is just super uncool. Either way, he makes this list because you really wouldn't know that he was a synth until you really try to dig to the root of the issue. I rate this synth one photo of Brock Lesnar wrestling a shark. Someone help me! He just grabbed me out of the ocean and started beating me senseless. At number 8, we've got Tectus. Now you're probably thinking, where do I get a hat just like that one? Bet the women go fucking bonkers for a sexy hat like that, right? Boobies are just bouncing off that thing left, right, and center when he's wearing that bad boy, huh? Just, booby. Get out of here, you fucking boobies. That hat fucking pulls, man. Gets my dick hard looking at a hat like that. It's amazing. Yeah. Anyways, what the fuck was I talking? Oh yeah. High Confessor Tectus has been a child of Adam for over a decade. Since the days of Confessor Cromwell. Yeah. On a side note, he actually looks like a pile of garbage that has come to life. Now, he eventually left Magaton with Confessor Martin to settle in Maine and eventually rose to the rank of Zealot. Which, for all of you who don't know, that's kind of a big deal. But how could it not be a big deal, right? I mean, you have to earn the trust of a bunch of people dangerously exposed to a lethal level of radiation on a daily basis. You also have to convince normal people that huffing radioactive goo will give you superpowers. That, in and of itself, should earn this guy a purple dinosaur sticker right there. Now, Tectus believes that the island is Adam's holy land and that all the inhabitants must worship his glory, which is like a totally sane thing to think, right? I mean, I can't imagine why anyone would have beef with this cool hat-sporting mastermind over here, you know? He's just such a charmer. Though he is willing to maintain peaceful relations with the Acadians because they supplied the children of Adam with the nucleus, he is very vocal in his hatred of the residents of Far Harbor, frequently describing them as heathens and sometimes even sending some of his followers to sabotage their defenses. Well, some of you may not know this, but Tectus can be replaced with the synth to keep the peace. Dima's head bulbs light up with the genius idea to kill the real Tectus and replace him with a synth that's a little more reasonable. Now, Dima is definitely a mass-murdering light bulb, but he does have a point in this circumstance. However, I feel like you could put a hat on a hairless beaver and the children of Adam would still worship the shit out of him. But I mean, that's just my opinion. I rate this synth one guy who parked his Chevy like a fucking savage.
Gravity can suck my balls.
At number 7, we've got Kasumi Nakano. Now, Kasumi Nakano is the only NPC on this list that's actually not a synth, but is commonly believed to be a synth. So in a way, she's secretly a human. Now, Kasumi just loves to fix stuff. I mean, to the point where when something breaks, she just starts salivating at the mouth like a rabid dog. She even fixes up an old radio that catches a broadcast from Acadia, which she would listen to on the regular. Some might even say that the radio broadcast was the straw that beat the camel to death, and it was that rhetoric that convinced her she was a synth. Now, Kasumi was distraught and distant from her family, especially after her grandfather passed away. Now, she was plagued with strange dreams where she would wake up on a factory slab, and weird dreams can definitely be life-changing. I mean, I once had a strange dream where I was using a Japanese leaf blower to air dry my tighty-whities while a beaver with a lesbian haircut threw gummy bears at me through a tiny window. I woke up sobbing like a toddler, completely covered in shame. That was the day I realized I needed to stop sniffing permanent markers before I went to bed, which was life-changing for me, okay? Anyways, the broadcast from Acadia solidifies her suspicion in ambiguous dreams and leads her to run away and seek out Acadia. However, when she arrives at Acadia, nobody tells her she is or isn't a synth. They just leave that up for debate. So Kasumi actually runs away to Acadia to get definitive answers about who she is, and instead learns absolutely nothing about herself. I gotta say, Acadia doesn't sound anything like the brochure. Now, I really felt that Kasumi should be included on this list because the only way to find out that she's not a synth is to kill everyone in Acadia, including her. When you do, you'll actually find out she's the only one without a synth component. Meaning she's in fact a human being who was just convinced she was a synth. Bummer, Kasumi, bummer. I rate this human one guy who will blow an imaginary pterodactyl for $20. I know it's not real, but 20 bucks is 20 bucks, am I right? Guys gotta eat, man. Guys gotta eat. At number 6, we've got Amelia Stockton. Good old Amelia Stockton, everyone's favorite kidnappee. Amelia has the face of an 8-year-old boy, and she honestly looks like she's been beaten and kept in a cage. Which, funny enough, she has been beaten and kept in a cage. Which goes to show you sometimes you can judge a book by its cover. Now, Amelia was minding her own beeswax one day when Chambers' team from the Covenant kidnapped her to further the safe test. Now, she obviously wasn't the only person kidnapped by the Covenant. However, she was one of the only synths that they were ever able to get their creepy hands on. In fact, they were so excited they nabbed an actual synth that they were about to cut her open like a bunch of fucking psychos. However, long story short, the sole survivor shows up and puts a damper on their grade 4 science class. Now, Amelia Stockton is a secret synth because the only way to find her is to get to the bottom of the Covenant's nefarious plans, which is a side mission that quite frankly isn't on the top of everyone's priority list. Now, Amelia is quite obviously a synth though, and she is also a huge fucking skank. Now, Old Man Stockton, Amelia's father, actually reveals that he knew she was a synth if the sole survivor is part of the railroad. Otherwise, he just keeps that shit to himself. He loves the synth Amelia as if she wasn't a synth at all. I rate this synth one guy who thinks that young people are a bunch of bitches.
Well, back in my day, I had to fight a bear with a shotgun just to lick a half-eaten sandwich in a snowstorm. And I was goddamn happy to have that lick.
At number 5, we've got Brooks. And who's this big old sloppy booby over here, you might be wondering? I know I did. Brooks is actually the delightfully forgetful bait shop owner in Far Harbor. Now you're probably wondering, why does he make this list when he doesn't really hide the fact that he's a synth? I mean, when you question him, he'll just tell you that he escaped from Acadia and that he remains in Far Harbor to greet new arrivals. Yeah, but I can tell you this, I've done several playthroughs of Far Harbor, and I had no idea he was a synth. Why? Because I didn't even care enough to ask. That's why. I mean, honestly, Brooks is just not an overly interesting character. I mean, the only interesting thing that happens to him is the fact that he was one of the last known individuals to see Derek alive before he was killed by the trappers. And I don't know much about Brooks, but I bet you if you punched him directly in the penis, he would likely collapse and sob like any human. But deep down, he's not a human. He's a synth. I mean, Brooks is secretly a synth in the sense that he's living in Far Harbor rather than Acadia, and that he doesn't stand out in any real noticeable ways. It's not like when you come into Far Harbor, he's hanging off the edge of a building and his tidy whitey's yelling, "I'm not real!" over and over and over again. Rather, he just chills in his bait shop acting all human, sucking on air like he needs it to live. When in reality, he may not even need air to live, because he's a fucking robot. I rate this synth one little girl who learned about gravity the hard way.
Whee! Ah!
At number 4, we've got Roger Warwick. Now, something about this guy just gives me the heebie-jeebies. I just feel like if you left him in your living room alone for 15 minutes unattended, you'd come back and he'd be licking an empty picture frame. You know, needless to say, Roger Warwick is not your typical soccer dad. Roger is actually a replacement created by the Institute. The original Warwick was tortured for information and disposed of, while the synth is presently used to evaluate genetically modified crops for viability in the soil. Now, when the sole survivor speaks with Wally or Janie, Roger's children, they say that their father is a lot nicer than he used to be. Yet one day we heard a scream yell, "Holy fuck, they got me!" Then Dad went missing for 2 days, and then randomly he shows up one day naked, covered in blood, mumbling, "I'm human," over and over again. We just figured he found Jesus. In fact, Roger is a synth that was built by the Institute. The exact point at which the original Roger Warwick has been replaced is unknown. Now, it is noted that if Roger completes his soil experiment for the Institute, then the Institute will come back and purge his whole family, killing them all. Which seems like a terrible way to thank someone for all their hard work. Now, despite being a synth, Roger doesn't actually drop a synth component when he's killed. One way to find out that he is actually a synth, though, is by encountering Cedric Hopton, who carries Bill's letter, which calls for a mercenary to take out the imposter Warwick for 500 caps, indicating that Roger is not who he claims to be. I rate this synth one guy who loves showing people his fingers. Look at these! Nice, right? I'll let you lick them for $5. Okay, 4, but you have to look me in the eyes when you do it. At number 3, we've got Captain Avery. Now, the real Captain Avery, aka Captain Crunch, was the leader of the Far Harbor villagers and spoke against the children of Adam. Because why wouldn't you speak out against a bunch of people that lick radioactive isotopes like they're fucking lollipops? And look like they're one bad trip from mass suicide. Honestly, it would be a little concerning if someone wasn't a little concerned about the children of Adam, to be honest. Now, one could even argue that the real Captain Avery was on the cusp of a war with the children of Adam. So Dima, everybody's favorite mass-murdering light bright with legs, actually killed the real Captain Avery and altered a synth to look exactly like her and take her place in Far Harbor, even to the point where the synth would believe she is the real Captain Avery, because he thought murder was a good place to start to keep the peace. Because the duplicate Captain Avery would be open to the idea of the children of Adam actually being on the island. Now, Captain Avery makes this list because she is literally a secret synth who doesn't know she's a synth herself. Now, there are a couple of different ways to find out she's a synth, however, she definitely passes for a human for a large part of the game, and is an easy miss if you don't look for the truth in the right places. I rate this synth one guy who got trapped on an island with nothing but Nintendos. It took him years, but eventually, he became their ruler. At number 2, we've got Sturgis. Now, Sturgis is a fixaholic tinkerer that keeps Mama Murphy from huffing gas until she pisses in her pediatric panties. He's generally a nice guy who seems to know how to fix shit. Now, he's a memorable character in that he can help you gain access to the Institute. However, he does harass the sole survivor like a dickless donkey until you help him fix up Sanctuary and make it a slightly less obvious skid mark in the underpants of the Commonwealth. But don't be fooled by his caring eyes and his wicked haircut, because he's secretly a third-generation synth. He has managed to blend in perfectly though, like dirty underwear in a laundry hamper. Now, originally he was a handyman in Quincy before things went to shit in a handbasket. He, along with the other members of the Sanctuary crew, escaped with Preston Garvey from the Quincy massacre. Now, Sturgis doesn't appear to be hostile in any way, but this could be a ruse to gain your trust. Then one night when you least expect it, you wake up with a used sock taped in your mouth and he's standing over you with a pair of jumper cables, sparking the ends together and laughing maniacally as you squirm around confused in your adult onesie. Huh? Yeah, you don't want that, do ya? But there's no evidence to support that that would actually happen. In fact, the only way to find out that Sturgis is a synth is by killing him, which is kind of a dick move as he is a pretty cool guy. But in all fairness, he really doesn't leave any hints. However, if you do kill him though, you will find a synth component on his body confirming that he is in fact a sentient machine sent back in time to kill John Connor. I rate this synth one girl who thought she was ready to ride the seesaw, but she wasn't. My god, she wasn't ready at all. And at the number 1 spot, we've got Paladin Danse. Now, Paladin Danse is like a Boy Scout who's always one merit badge away from ODing on happiness. And when Elder Maxon says jump, Paladin Danse is right there, bobbing up and down like a water buoy with brain damage. Needless to say, he would suck Maxon's balls if he thought in some way it would help the Brotherhood of Steel eliminate all the synths. Now, before Danse joined the Brotherhood, he was living in the Capital Wasteland as an orphan boy, just scavenging up a storm with his boy Cutler. They eventually figured that scavenging wasn't giving them the green they were after, so when they heard the Brotherhood was recruiting, they both shaved their balls and signed up their smooth ball bags to the cause. Now, both Cutler and Danse felt right at home cleaning up the Commonwealth like a demented version of Mr. Clean, killing all sorts of ugly they stumbled upon. They were both very successful soldiers. However, after about a year of being posted to the Pridwin, Cutler disappeared on assignment like a fart in the wind. Paladin Danse got all distraught and pulled his underwear up to his nipples, searching everywhere for his lost buddy. He looked for 3 weeks, eventually leading to a super mutant hive where Cutler was exposed to the forced evolutionary virus, turning him into a big old freaky mutant. Danse then reluctantly killed Cutler because of his mutations, which likely went something like this. "I'm sorry, old friend. Dude, it's just a third nipple. I'll just cover it up. No more tank tops for me, you feel?" No! Because Paladin Danse, he don't play that shit. Now, from that day forward, Danse developed an intense hatred for anything non-human, including synths. What's really unique about Danse is that he even believes that synths are the embodiment of technology spiraling out of control, and that their very existence could bring about the end of humanity. Except, spoiler alert, he's a synth himself. So talk about putting a big old dirty foot right in your mouth, right? Good God. Now, as the main story progresses, the sole survivor will have an opportunity to hack into the Institute's mainframe. Should they provide the Brotherhood with a copy of this data, it is confirmed through DNA that Paladin Danse himself is in fact a synth. And we all know the only way to collect DNA is through semen, according to CSI. So that must mean that Danse jizzed all over everything in the Institute before he left. Not very smart, Paladin Danse. Not very smart at all. So Danse does what any little girl would do if she found out she was a robot, and he flees to Listening Post Bravo. And Elder Maxon then develops a huge hard-on to see Danse dead because he sees his infiltration as a betrayal. Danse weirdly agrees with Maxon too, partly because he's a teacher's pet and also partly because he's belly-button deep in the Brotherhood's rhetoric, making Danse a living, breathing, shitting contradiction of everything the Brotherhood believes in. Because if he is in fact compliant to the point of self-harm, then he can't also be the epitome of technology spiraling out of control. Because he can't be in control and out of control at the same time. Simple logic here, peeps. Now, the sole survivor will be able to determine Paladin Dance's fate. Either you can let him live and run off into the forest, or you can shoot him directly in his face and kill him dead as shit. I rate this synth one hitchhiking goat riding bitch on this bike so it can get to Hollywood and achieve its dream of being in a porno. I'm on my way! Thanks again for watching, folks. Hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, be sure to bitch slap that subscribe button like it's 3 weeks behind on your rent. Bitch! Where's the money, bitch? Where's the money? Where is it? Also, go ahead and hit that bell icon too, because apparently YouTube thought there should be extra steps. Why not, right?
I'd like to subscribe, but first I have to click this and this and do this. Oh, it needs an email. All right, and this. Okay, fuck. Just tell me when he's uploading. Fuck!
Once you do all that, if you're lucky, at the stroke of midnight, a tiny little Averagebaters fairy might come and tickle your butthole. Also, if you want to see another top 10 similar to this one, then go ahead and click that sexy little icon at the bottom left of the screen. And I hope to see you all again next time for another top 10.